Ron Pitts, John Lynch, Jennifer Hammond ready to start it off here in Detroit. The Lions have won the toss. They'll go on offense, but they will be without that man, their first-round pick back in '07, Calvin Johnson. He hurt his knee, a MCL, medial collateral ligament, that was injured against Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and that's a big loss for these Detroit Lions. Look for the St. Louis Rams to turn up the aggressiveness. The onus falls upon that man, Kevin Smith, and the Detroit Lions running game. Dennis Northcutt and Bryant Johnson, the receivers, have to step up in his absence.
Josh Brown will get us going. Derek Williams, the third-round pick out of Penn State, will start it off. Avoids one, takes a hit at about the 18, and falls just shy of the 20-yard line. Chris Chamberlain with the tackle. Matthew Stafford, he's been battling injuries of his own. His first action since subluxing his kneecap. I know it sounds painful. The kneecap slid out of place, slid back in. That was week 4 versus Chicago. He was out the last 2 weeks. A couple of changes up front. John Jansen, who was played at the right tackle spot, will bounce over at the left guard, replacing Ramirez and Loper.
Ron, you see Aaron Brown out there on the first play. Usually he's a something-up player. He's in there. They're going to go to him.
And they give to Kevin Smith, who has vowed through the bye week to come out a different player. And he picks up about 5 or 6 on the opening carry. The Rams defense ranked 30th in the NFL, but Leonard Little is playing like they're ranked #1, the oldest Ram at 34 years. He leads a team with 4 sacks, has a couple big plays on the season. Laurinaitis, the rookie out of Ohio State, the second-round pick. He's fun to watch. He's a leading tackler. The secondary, they've had some changes, and they have been tested. 2nd down and 5. Cutback. Smith. Looks as though he fell just shy of the first down marker. It depends on how they mark it. Yeah, a pickup of 4th, 3rd down and 1.
And we talked about it. Jim Schwartz was going to put the onus on Kevin Smith and this offensive line with Calvin Johnson out. Kevin Smith said this week, these next 10 games, I want to show that I'm the guy. He wants to be the #1 back for the future. He feels like this is his audition. He's running hard early here today.
3 carries in a row for Smith, and Smith will have the first down. Kevin Smith, the leading rusher for the team in 2008 with 12 carries. He's slow to get up there. And he told us in the meeting on Friday, he said, I've got to step up. I did a little self-reflection, and I've got to play better.
Yeah, over that bye week, he said he went off to New York and realized that maybe his passion for the game wasn't growing. He hadn't lost it, but it wasn't growing. This is a guy that loves football and kind of had a rebirth over the bye week. We'll see how it translates.
4 carries in a row for Smith. And the Lions told us they wanted to get back to the run game. And I guess they weren't kidding. A lead block there by Terrell Smith, a pickup of 5 yards for Smith as Smith heads out of the game.
Well, it makes sense. Your star player, your most explosive player, Calvin Johnson's out. You lean on that run game, and you got a hungry player in Kevin Smith. I'd feed him all day long. At some point, these receivers are going to have to step up and win some one-on-one matchups.
2nd and 5. Mo Morris, you remember him from Seattle, just came in this year as a free agent pickup from the Seahawks. He rips off a nice run. That's a first down. He picks up 7 on his first carry of the day.
You watch this replay. Terrell Smith is in for Jerome Felton, and Terrell Smith has always been a tremendous lead blocker. You see him blocking on Paris Lennon right here. An explosive, great block by Terrell Smith, paving the way for Maurice Morris.
Aaron Brown, the 6th-round pick out of TCU. He'll take the pitch. He's going downhill. And he's hit hard there at about the 48-yard line by Otagwe. First penalty of the day. We'll check in with Ron Winter.
Holding. Offense number 84. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Brandon Pettigrew, that's the 1st-round pick number 20th overall out of Oklahoma State. And John, that's exactly what Jim Schwartz said. We've got to stop and what they worked on the bye week, the MEs as they call them, mental errors.
Yeah, and penalties fall into that order. Sometimes Brandon Pettigrew, he's a guy that they love as a blocker. Sometimes when you're blocking hard, you're going to get your holding calls, but it goes back to fundamentals, which is a lot of what they reflected and worked on that bye week.
Two tight ends on the field after the penalty for the Lions. 1st and 20. Play action. Looking vertical. It's not there. Checks it down. That's Smith. And Smith with the reception. Knocked out by Ron Bartel. Key inactives today for both teams. For the Rams, cornerback Bradley Fletcher placed on the injured reserve list as of Tuesday with a knee injury he suffered last week against Indianapolis. Richie Incognito, he's out today. He'll be replaced by Adam Goldberg. And Massey, the center, he is injured. They had to make a replacement there. In fact, they bring in Ryan Neal to replace him for the season, most likely. 2nd down and 8. That's Smith.
And Ron, Jim Schwartz wasn't joking when he said he's going to rely on this run game right off the bat. They are feeding Kevin Smith for sure. I think they want to establish a tone. He also said they did want to stay out of these 3rd and longs. That's something they worked on in the bye week. They feel like they're a good team when they're in 3rd and manageable situations. These 3rd and longs, you see a lot of different looks from the St. Louis Rams defense.
Penalty marker down. Movement by the
False
Lions.
start. Offense number 89. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
That's Will Heller. And Jim Schwartz told us the other day, he said, well, we're 1-5 and no cavalry on the way. So, in other words, we've got to dig ourselves out of this hole. They finally got the win, ending the streak of 19 straight games with a loss. Play selection, run heavy thus far. Now 3rd and 14. Going deep, he's got a man, Johnson. And Johnson, did he hold on? No, he didn't. You have to complete the catch past the ground, right in his hands. And John, that's just typical of what's gone on this season.
That is. You're going to see Bryant Johnson here lined up one-on-one on Ron Bartel. Great release. He wins the one-on-one matchup, but you have to finish the play. Matthew Stafford delivers an absolute strike. And Bryant Johnson, they brought you in here for a reason. Part of that reason, if your guy Calvin Johnson's not there, you've got to step up. You've got to make that catch.
Nick Harris will punt it away. Amendola is deep. Amendola inside the 10-yard line. He's got some room. Makes a cut. Goes down at the 20-yard line.
And Ron, this is going to be a big part of this story of this game. We talked about how the other receivers, the Bryant Johnsons, are going to have to emerge in the absence of this guy, Calvin Johnson. Early on, he gets open, but you've got to finish the play.
So Mark Bulger will take over with the Rams at the 20-yard line. 1st and 10. And you can expect a heavy dose of this. At least the Lions are looking forward to it. That's Steven Jackson. He picks up 4. Bulger, 99 passing yards away from 2nd all-time in the Rams franchise in passing yards. He'll pass Roman Gabriel. 5 starts this year, played in 6. 14 of 26 last week against Indianapolis, but 2 interceptions, 1 a pick 6. 2nd and 6. Wide open throw. Burton, and Burton goes for more. Keenan Burton with some yards after the catch. And that's a Rams 1st down.
And Mark Bulger, when we sat down with him, he discussed with us how he felt there was starting to become a continuity at wide receiver. They lost Laurent Robinson, their #1 receiver early in the year. But now Keenan Burton and Donnie Avery are starting to settle in. He's starting to feel comfortable with them. They've been able to move the ball. Their problem has been finishing. They've got to turn these into points. They're only averaging 8.6 points per game as an offense.
22 yards on the pickup by Burton. Jackson. Steven Jackson. 2nd in the NFL in total yards from scrimmage. He's got 6 there. The Lions defense, Sammy Hill, the rookie, down inside the 4th-round pick out of Stillman, along with Grady Jackson. They can do a lot to help stop that run game by plugging up the middle. Larry Foote, the big free agent brought in after being released by Pittsburgh. He has become the leader of this defense. 2nd and 4 throw, wide open. Jackson lowers his head and runs over William James for a Rams first down, a pickup of 5. Third leading rusher in the NFL. First and 10 play action. Looking to stretch the field. Plenty of time for Bulger and a strike. That's Donnie Avery, the leading receiver who's been nicked up as of late, battling a hip bruise and this week in practice, a high rib injury. I'd never heard of that before, but he's got it. But he makes 15 yards there and a first down.
But you look at Donnie Avery's stature, he's a smaller guy, but boy, is he explosive. And early in the year, Pat Shurmur in this offense, they were really struggling as to how to best utilize him. In the month of October, he averaged 19 yards per reception. He's really coming alive. Mark Bulger is starting to get very comfortable with Donnie Avery.
Bulger very comfortable with the offense now, moving down the field inside the Lions' 30-yard line. Back to Jackson. And they're able to bottle him up a little bit that time.
Now this Detroit defense, Ron, as we know, we've been studying them. They're blitzing more than anybody in this league, and they want to bring more. They feel like they have to cover up some of their talent deficiencies, and that's always been Gunther's MO. We talked to Steven Jackson as a runner. He said when someone's blitzing, you have to be patient. It's going to be feast or famine. You're going to have a couple 2-yard gains, but you can always bust that big one. He's looking for that big one.
Gunther Cunningham, the defensive coordinator for the Lions. Second and long, the dump off to fullback Carney. Carney hit immediately by James. Play is stopped. Complete.
False start. Offense number 73. A 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
That's Adam Goldberg, who's starting at the right guard position for Richie Incognito.
You talk about a penalty like that. When we sat with Mark Bulger, he said the same thing Detroit said. We are a very good third and short, third and medium team. You know this pressure's coming from Detroit on third down. When you get yourself in third and longs, you make it awful tough on yourselves.
And this is a third and long. Bulger with time. Time ended very quickly. Tried to get it out to Carney. A marker's down. Julian Peterson coming around the corner.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 59. After this is to the goal, and a first down.
Roughing the passer on Peterson. Looks like he swatted him upside the head there.
You watch Julian Peterson working on the left tackle, Alex Barron. Great rush by Julian Peterson, who's been coming on. And you touch that head of quarterbacks in the league. I do not agree with it, but you touch the head of the quarterback in this league these days, it's going to be a 15-yard penalty. That's what they're instructing Ron Winter to do. As I said, I don't agree with it, but that is the rule.
That's how they're taught, right? And Ron Winter, as you saw, he did not hesitate. The flag came out immediately. So Jackson checks back in, first and 10. Rams in the red zone. Pitch. Another marker down. Not much for Jackson. Foot is there along with Peterson.
Holding. Offense number 63. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
That's Jacob Bell.
And Ron, you start to wonder, why can't a team that's moving the ball efficiently as of late punch it in the red zone? They're 31st in the red zone. Well, sometimes it's turnovers, sometimes it's penalties. They continue to shoot themselves in the foot. We'll see if they can overcome. But those type of mistakes are why they're averaging only 8.6 points per game. Doesn't matter if you can move the ball all day if you can't punch it in the end zone. That's what the Rams have to get accomplished today.
Rams second to last in touchdown percentage in the red zone. Now they're out of it with the penalty. Middle of the field, and it's incomplete. Ball intended for Randy McMichael. McMichael took a hit, and he is slow to get up. Louis Delmas was in the area, and the 8th-year man out of Georgia still down. Delmas comes over to say sorry. I don't know that sorry is enough.
Randy McMichael holding those ribs after Louis Delmas, a guy that I really like at the safety position, delivers a blow to those ribs. He's doing the job that the safety's supposed to. Louis Delmas is a guy we'll watch throughout the game. I really like the style of play that he plays with and his potential for this Detroit defense.
Daniel Fells replaces McMichael. Jackson spinning in the backfield, just got past the line of scrimmage. Ernie Sims finishes him off. He picks up one. Let's go back to the hit.
Ronnie Lott taught me a long time ago, someone comes in that zone, you got to make them pay and not be so sure about coming there later in the game. Louis Delmas doing his job right there. Nice job by the young rookie for the Detroit Lions.
Delmas, 5'11", just over 200 pounds, a second-round pick out of Western Michigan as McMichael checks back in. He is a hitter, played safety and corner in college. That time came across like a linebacker. 3rd and 20. Going toward the end zone, and it's well covered. Buchanan is all over Fells. Not a great matchup if you're the offense. And that'll bring up 4th down. This will be a 41-yard try by Josh Brown. And a different long snapper, Chris Massey, injured his knee. He's on the injured reserve list. Ryan Neal brought in Tuesday. Spent the last 2 years in Buffalo. High snap, they get it down, push it through. It's clean. So the Rams with an early 3-0 lead. A nice drive there by Bulger, finding a lot of receivers. They started out running the ball well, and as everyone's talked about all week long, John, they are going to see Steven Jackson all day long.
You'll see plenty of him, and they got to allow Steven Jackson to have his impact on this game. They got to eliminate those penalties when they get down in the red zone and punch that in for a touchdown as opposed to a field goal.
Williams having trouble rounding the ball up, finally sits on it. 1st and 10, Detroit Lions. Pitch. That's Aaron Brown. Aaron Brown with a nice move. He's got a lot of that in him. The 6th-round pick out of TCU. Hasn't gotten a lot of run, but he makes use of it there.
And Aaron Brown is a guy that, as I said, to start the game, when he's on the field, they want the ball in his hands. He's an explosive player. He's got returner skills. When he comes in the ball game, the ball is usually going to him or he will serve as a decoy. He's an explosive player that they want to continue to get more into this offense.
So 11 yards on the carry, gun formation. Pressure, he took a hit, got it off, it's complete. Maybe about 4 yards to Pettigrew. And Matthew Stafford, as we said in the open, he had that sublexed right knee cap injury, which means the kneecap pops out, pops back in. So he had that same injury his senior year in high school. You know, a lot of times the worst part of an injury like that is the treatment schedule they put you on in the NFL. He came in, had to come in at 5:30 in the morning, treatment twice during the day, then back at night. But it's all about getting to this point here, back on the field for the Lions as the #1 pick overall. Back to the run game. They started hot with that Kevin Smith. Laurinaitis on the tackle, a pick up of 4.
He's 100%. He wants to go full bore. He said nothing will slow him down. You know, the biggest thing is that he was really progressing each week prior to getting hurt. He missed Pittsburgh, Green Bay. They're happy to have him back.
You give back to Smith. Smith, believe, lunged forward enough for the 1st down. Dahl is there with the tackle. And you're talking about Stafford getting better. His passer rating has gone up every week that he's played. Started off with the dismal performance down in New Orleans. A lot of people have had dismal performances against the New Orleans Saints. That one was a 27.4 rating. He ended up the last game he played in which he was injured, against Chicago, with an 89 passer rating.
Well, the biggest thing he's doing, he's protecting the football. Week 1 and 2, 5 interceptions. The last couple of weeks that he played, 1 interception. You have to protect the football. He's starting to do that better.
Smith looked for the cutback. A man was right there in the alley. No place to go. Quincy Butler was standing there, would not give him the cutback. 1, maybe 2.
And Jim Schwartz, the thing he said he was most impressed with in terms of Matthew Stafford's progress was he was cutting the turnovers down without being, as he called it, check down Charlie. You know, not just showing throwing those two-yard routes. He was throwing the ball, attacking downfield, but yet learning to protect the football a little better. This guy's got a bright future in the NFL. I think very worthy of being the 1st pick in the draft and going to lead these guys to a lot of success in the future.
2nd and 9, trips a little, throwing screen. He's got room. That's Smith. Smith with the 1st down, then some. Bartell on the tackle, but a nice pickup by Kevin Smith.
The Rams come with blitz. Perfect play for that situation.
Jennifer Hammond down on the sideline. We start the second quarter. That's the toss to Aaron Brown, and Brown with a couple. And welcome to our booth. John, we talk about the Detroit Lions. They finally got off the schneid there. They got that winless monkey off their back, and they said, here, Rams, you take it. Rams coming into this game having lost 17 in a row. As you said in the open, it's all about the win. Forget what you talk about and what you actually do in practice.
Yeah, and both teams are having success early on, running the football, moving the football. The Rams shot themselves in the foot, as they often have this season, in terms of penalties down in the red zone. Detroit on a nice drive. We'll see if they can finish with the touchdown.
Pickup of 4 by Brown. There's a throw and an immediate hit. Butler, James Butler, the strong safety, coming down the pipe with the big hit. And he hits Pettigrew. That's the rookie tight end, number 20 overall, picked out of Oklahoma State. And Pettigrew is still down. We'll check on him when we come back.
The life of a tight end in the NFL. He's going to run a little shake route. Matthew Stafford delivers it, and here comes that safety. The ribs of those tight ends being exposed today. And these safeties making them pay. Kind of like it, Ronnie.
I know you do. Both Butlers involved in that one. Quincy Butler and James Butler, and there's movement. That'll be Will Heller.
Ball start. Offense number 89. 5-yard penalty. It remains third down.
Will Heller subbing for Brandon Pettigrew, who was able to walk off the field under his own power.
Rams showing a little blitz late. Matthew Stafford trying to adjust, and that caused Will Heller to jump a little early, puts him in a third and long situation.
They show blitz, drop out of it, 3rd and 11, and they get stung. Mo Morris. Morris with a first down. He's inside the Rams' 25-yard line. He picks up 19 and a first.
You know, and Ron, and you can blitz in this league, but you've got to be sound in coverage. Right here, no one is in the vicinity of Maurice Morris, and as a defense, you've got to know your assignments. If you're going to bring the pressure, everyone has to be accounted for. Maurice Morris totally unaccounted for, and you allow a 3rd and 11 conversion, which shouldn't happen.
Both tight ends back in the game. Pettigrew checks back in. 1st and 10 run. Cutting it back is Smith. It's Smith off to a great start today. That's a first down. A pickup of 12.
You see Kevin Smith with the nice run. He told us he was running hard, and he's certainly doing that, Ron. But we've watched this St. Louis defense throughout the year. They play hard. Why they're 0-7? It's the mental mistakes. You don't leave receivers wide open in this league on blitzes, and you don't allow running backs to go right up the pipe like Kevin Smith just did for 11 yards. They need to tighten up.
1st and 10, gun formation for Stafford. Fakes the handoff, incomplete. In and out of the hands. We've already had a couple drops today by Lions receivers. That time, it's Dennis Northcutt.
You've got a young rookie quarterback coming back for being injured for a couple of weeks. Your 2 veteran receivers. Yes, Calvin Johnson's out, but Dennis Northcutt and Bryant Johnson have played some football in this league. You've got to help this young quarterback out and catch the football. Drops are going to happen, but you got to help your young rookie out and catch the balls that you're supposed to catch.
See a look at the red zone production for the Lions this season. 2nd and 10, draw, delayed draw. Nice move in the backfield, but the Rams are there. That's Smith. Chris Long in on the tackle.
And that's the kind of run defense right there from the Rams that Steve Spagnuolo wants to see. When we sat down with him, he told us, hey, it's hard to win if you're getting the ball run down your throat over and over. At some point, you gotta stiffen your back and stand up to that run, and that's something that these Rams need to continue to improve. I think there's a talent deficiency inside at the defensive tackle spot, and that's something they'll have to address in the future. Right now, they're trying to get by, but you have to be able to stop the run in this league to win games.
3rd down. Middle of the field, in and out of the hands of Brown. Intercepted. That's James Butler. He's in the end zone. Now, wait a minute. That's a safety because he intercepted it outside of the end zone, took it into the end zone with his own momentum, and it's a safety.
After the interception, the defender brought the ball into the field of play, returned it into the end zone on his own, was tackled in the end zone, therefore, it is a safety.
This is about intercepting and then establishing your presence on the field of play and going back.
See James Butler, he's going to leave the end zone, then re-enter the end zone. Kevin Smith right here is going to make a fabulous tackle, safety for the Detroit Lions. If you're the Rams and you're 0-7, well, here's the reason why. You have a big shift in momentum with the turnover, and instead you end up with 2 points against you.
So Donnie Jones has to punt it away by rule after the safety. Northcutt gets just past the 25. I don't know what to say, boy. Getting your dance on at 0-7.
I don't know. His friends are friends from Windsor, Canada, right across the border are here.
Otagwe from Windsor, Canada, along with a couple other Rams defensive backs. And that pretty much changed the game going into tonight. Smith with the dump off. A tackle around the helmet, no flag yet. But he's got a big gain and a first down. And Smith still shaken up. John, I did not see a penalty marker fly for what looked like a tackle around the helmet, and obviously Jim Schwartz agrees with me.
Yeah, watch the end of the play. Usually you get anywhere near that helmet, and he did grab the face mask. Remember, there are no more 5-yard unintentional face masks. Everything's a 15. Jim Schwartz not happy with the officials, and he should be. And more importantly, his star running back, Kevin Smith, who's having a very productive day, maybe a little nicked up here. Now, Kevin Smith, Calvin Johnson or not, he's a big part of this offense. Everyone looks at Steven Jackson and, you know, he's 53% of their touches. Well, Kevin Smith on this season, 46% of the Detroit Lions touches on offense have involved Kevin Smith. Today, he's already got 14 touches, 11 carries, and 3 receptions. Kevin Smith, a big part of this offense with or without Calvin Johnson.
That last run there, 19 yards. That was off a throw out of the backfield. Smith told us on Friday that he just simplified things. As you take another look at the face mask, he said he simplified things. He went back to basics. He just went ahead and said, okay, understand the offensive game plan, study the basics of what the defense is doing, and go. Get off to a fast start. He's done that.
He certainly has. He's got a little extra juice in that step today, and that's what they're looking for Kevin Smith.
Morris takes his place. Play action to Morris. Seam route, it's not there. A safety was standing right there waiting for the hit intended for Bryant Johnson. Butler was standing in the hole.
And you look at this, we've got 2 of the guys, Steven Jackson for the Rams and Kevin Smith. Steven Jackson with 53%, almost 54% of the touches of the St. Louis Rams. Kevin Smith with 46. That's inordinately high for both these guys. Big parts of the offense, running the ball and catching the ball. Versatile running backs here today.
Second and 10. We give to Morris. Morris with a lane almost broke through Laurinaitis' there. Pick up a 5 or 6.
We've got the rookie quarterback Stafford coming back from an injury. He's looked good today, and you know, I have been very impressed. There's certain things that he needs to pick up, the details. We'll talk about his footwork later on as the game goes on, but you see 5 of 10. Now remember, 2 of those easy drops that these receivers should have had. Matthew Stafford, I think, has a very bright future. His receivers need to start catching the ball for him today.
3rd down and 4. Corner blitz. They throw right to that side. It's complete in the first down. Otagwe on the tackle, but Aaron Brown gets out of the backfield clean and comes up with the reception.
Ron, you talked about it, the corner blitz. Aaron Brown's right here. Ron Bartell going to come on the corner blitz. Aaron Brown goes where the corner vacates. Matthew Stafford on his blitz reads, throws the hot route to Aaron Brown. Atagwe with a nice tackle, but first down for the Detroit Lions. Nice execution by these Detroit Lions on the blitz pickup.
Brown, one of the players acquired in the Roy Williams trade of last year, starting to make his presence known. Back to Mo Morris.
Yeah, they like Kevin Smith, but they think Kevin Smith can be better if they implement Maurice Morris a little bit, let him get going. You see so many teams. The New York Giants did it with 3 running backs last year. They want to start getting Maurice Morris more involved in this offense as well. They think that will only help Kevin Smith.
Second down, 7. Morris cutting it back. Good play there on the cutback. Grant, Larry Grant with the tackle. 8:32 to play here and counting in the second quarter. A 1-point game. The Rams just gave up a safety on what looked like a great play, and was a great play there by James Butler. He intercepted it, ran out of the end zone, then ran back in the end zone and was tackled by Kevin Smith. The first quarter, the Rams went down the field. A couple penalties, but Mark Bulger did a nice job finding some receivers. They came away with 3 points. That throw a little behind Will Heller. That'll bring up 4th down.
And Ron, you know, that wasn't put right on Will Heller, but that's a catchable football.
Sure is.
And again, you've got a young rookie quarterback. You got to help him out. You got to make those catches, Will Heller. You're another veteran receiver. Matthew Stafford throws the ball out to Will Heller. Would have been a first down. To move the chains, you got to catch those balls. Detroit Lions are going to have to start doing that better here today.
So Nick Harris with a 41-yard average will try to kill this one inside the 10-yard line. Get some height on it. Fair catch called at the 10. Look at the discrepancy in time of possession. Detroit able to hold on to the ball thanks to the run game. The Rams started off running the ball, got away from Steven Jackson a little bit. I expect for them to get back to him in this drive.
Absolutely. I think you see a steady dose of Steven Jackson right here. Get that time of possession that's so skewed right now back in their favor.
And there it is. Jackson, he's looking cut back. It's not there. Schwartz reiterated, Jim Schwartz, the Lions head coach, reiterated all week long that we have got to get 11 people around the ball to stop this man, Steven Jackson.
For Steven Jackson, a big part of his future is Jason Smith, the right tackle, number 2 pick in the draft this year. Jason Smith getting his opportunity. Adam Goldberg shifting down to right guard. And this guy, they're so high on this guy and his potential. He's played right tackle, he's played left tackle, but they feel he's going to be a star in this league, and he's everything they're looking for in a player.
Jackson split out in the slot. That time they go backside to Keenan Burton. Burton has been active early. That's good enough for a first down.
You're going to complete footballs to those outside receivers. You better have protection. And Jason Smith, their second pick from Baylor. Second pick in the draft from Baylor. This guy is a stud, Ron. He moves his feet extremely well. Dwight Freeney gave him a little business last week, but Dwight Freeney's been doing that to a lot of people in this league. He's learning each week. And
penalty marker. It looked like Averill was offside, and a big hit on Donnie Avery. Kevin Hobbs, who the Lions are really high on, the free agent from Seattle, came up and laid the wood.
Offside. Defense number 92. A 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
As I mentioned, going against Averill.
And you want to know why teams are 1-5 and 0-7. Every time they make a good play, they shoot themselves in the foot. Kevin Hobbs makes a great play right there. Cliff Averill lines up offsides. We saw earlier the Rams have a big interception in the red zone. James Butler tries to bring it out, then brings it back in and you get a safety. You're shooting yourself in the foot. That's not about talent right there. That's killing yourself as a football team.
2 tight ends for the Rams. 1st and 5. Burton again. 3rd catch of the day for Burton. And they're all long-range catches, too. Burton, the 4th round pick out of Kentucky last year, came into the game with 20 catches. He's got 3 today for 42 yards.
And again, you know, Mark Bulger was very much wanted to emphasize his comfort with these receivers was really starting to grow. We've seen both receivers, Donnie Avery, Keenan Burton, start to emerge in this offense. Again, for the Rams, the problem hasn't been moving the football. They've got to punch it and turn it into touchdowns and points.
Rams looking for their first win since October of 19th of 2008. A long dry spell there of 17 games. Jackson, nowhere. He went backwards. Larry Foote, a loss of 4.
Larry Foote, the free agent, hometown kid from Detroit, coming back home, playing for his hometown team. Just going to shoot that gap, get in the backfield like you've seen those Pittsburgh Steelers linebackers do so often. Larry Foote, a really great story, coming back here, wanting to be here. They feel like that's critical to the success of this whole community. He wanted to be here. That said a lot.
Quick look at Jackson's numbers. Yeah, you're happy if you can do that to Steven Jackson, especially this year. 2nd and 14, pressure. That ball's thrown up. And it's incomplete. He had a man in the area. That was Jackson. DeAndre Levy, the 3rd-round pick out of Wisconsin, applied the pressure.
And you look at all the guys up for these Detroit Lions defense. We told you early, Gunther Cunningham bringing more pressure than anybody in the league. It's DeAndre Levy who busts through there and pressures Mark Bulger. Mark Bulger's lucky that didn't turn into an interception.
They like Levy, started the last 2 games. Versus Chicago, week 4, 8 tackles and the forced fumble.
They're very high on Levy. They feel like he's a big, strong guy that can cover well. He can strike you. Jim Schwartz said he really fits the mold of what we're looking for here in Detroit.
3rd and long. The Rams 0-4 today thus far, and they will continue 0-4 on 3rd down. That one sails over the head of Amendola. He would not have made the 1st down even if he caught it, I believe.
And when you have a team that likes to bring this much pressure, Mark Bulger alluded to it when we sat down with him. You can't put yourself in 3rd and long situations. The Rams do that, and you see the result. Incompletion intended for Danny Amendola.
So Donnie Jones on to punt it away. Northcutt is deep. Northcutt takes it at the 23, looking for a couple blocks, makes a cut. And Northcutt with a nice return.
And Ron, it's tough on the field today. It's also tough on those sidelines. Pat Shurmur, he's got enough to worry about with this offense. Getting trucked by his own safety and gunner on that special teams play. David Roach, Pat Shurmur, keep your head on a swivel.
Pat Shurmur, the Rams offensive coordinator, coming down from Philadelphia, working there for the past few years under the tutelage there of Andy Reid, bringing that West Coast style of offense to the Rams. Smith lowering his shoulder and putting the wood there on Quincy Butler. Butler securing the tackle, but Smith definitely making his presence known today, picking up 7 yards. And there's a look at John Jansen, who steps in today at that left guard position.
Yeah, and they ran right behind John Jansen. He asked for the opportunity to play this left guard. They've been struggling at that left guard position. As Kevin Smith runs right behind Jansen again. Manny Ramirez tried it. Daniel Loper tried it. John Jansen said, let me have my opportunity. I want to break in. He's playing next to his old teammate at University of Michigan and Jeff Backus. These guys are 2 guys that were on that 1997 national championship team at Michigan that was so talented. But John Jansen says it's a big adjustment. He's played right tackle throughout his career. And he said more so the adjustment from tackle to guard, it's going from the right side to the left side. Stances are different, sets are different. But they're hoping they find a home for John Jansen right there.
Excuse me, John, 3 different starters this year at left guard, 15 since 2001. A high throw, and that one dropped twice. Dropped by Pettigrew, then dropped again by Butler. Butler, who missed 3 games with a knee injury. This is his 2nd game back. Kind of a rough start here in the first half for him.
Yeah, rough start. He had an opportunity for his 2nd interception. We know what happened. The safety, when he tried to exit the end zone, went back in it on the first one, and that's just a drop. Deflected balls are tough. But when you're 0-7, those are the plays you need to turn the tide a little bit. And the Rams have just been struggling to make the big play that's going to make the difference in these games.
So Harris will punt it away. Angles this one, a nice punt. Amendola laid a man out. The ball rolls out of bounds at about the 8-yard line. Amendola laid out Derek Williams. So 3 minutes to play here in the first half. Rams ball after the nice punt and the nice block. Harrison Amendola. Look at Jackson still moving the feet. Steven Jackson still going. And Jackson rolls out to the 35-yard line. Peterson finally secures the tackle, but a pickup of 26 yards.
You want to see what makes this guy, in my mind, one of the best football players in the National Football League. It's heart. He's got the talent, absolutely, but he's driving those legs. This is an 0-7 football team, and he's saying, you know what, put it on my shoulders. I want the football. This guy is impressive week in, week out. Just an incredible player.
I'm laughing. Did you see Jason Brown, the center? Boy, he was just rolling guys off the pile there. That's Randy McMichael. McMichael shaking up early. And it looks as though a Lion is slow to get up. Hobbs gets to his feet. Looks to be okay. McMichael still shaking up a bit. A pickup of 9. And that should be the 2-minute warning here in Detroit. A quick comparison, Steven Jackson there, 5.4 yards on average there, and Kevin Smith, that last run by Jackson, I think helped that average, but clearly two teams that want to get their running backs in the mix early here in this one. 2nd and 1 throw. Burton has gotten it going early too. Philip Buchanan on the coverage. That's 5 yards and a first down. All he needed was 1. 3 timeouts left for both teams. Clock running, we're under the 2-minute warning. The Rams went down the field early in the first quarter. Drive stalled, they got 3. Then they gave up a safety on an interception by Butler. There's a completion to Danny Amendola.
Mark Bulger doing exactly what the Rams.
St. Louis, they're first.
Rams need him to do. When you're in this 2-minute situation as a quarterback, Brett Favre used to talk about it all the time. You don't need to take the shots downfield. You just have to make sure you're keeping those chains moving. You've got plenty of time, 1:32 left. Keep those chains moving. And the big challenge for these Rams, Ron, at some point you got to put it in that end zone. Forget about the field goals. You got to turn it into 6 points. We'll see if the Rams and Mark Bulger can do that.
Rams call 1 timeout. They have 2 left. Defensively, John, former safety, what are you thinking right here in a 2-minute situation if you're Detroit?
Well, you're thinking you got to put some pressure on Bulger. And for Detroit, you want to be the guy to make that play to keep those points off the board. 2-minute situations, a lot of interceptions come.
Movement up front, flags fly.
Ball start. Offense number 84. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
That's McMichael, the tight end.
See Cliff Averill right here, going to do a little shifting, reducing down, and it catches Randy McMichael. That's tough on the offense. You got to hold your water, as they say, though. You got to be still in there. Those penalties continue to hurt the St. Louis Rams.
1st and 15. Lions play the cover 2. They check it down. That's McMichael, foot on the tackle.
And as a defense, what you want them to do is make them earn this, everything they're getting. Again, keep the ball in front of you. You said they're in the cover 2. Keep the ball in front of you. Don't let the deep ball down the field.
Pump, center of the field. High throw. McMichael touched it. He would have had to come down with a great catch, but he can't hold on. Coe Simpson on the coverage.
Randy McMichael saying, come on, Mark, help me out. You're exposing those ribs all day long. But Mark Bulger taking a shot down. And really, again, these are the plays that if you want to win football games, you got to make those. Yes, was it a tough catch? Absolutely. But that ball's in your hands. Tom Landry used to say, you touch it, catch it.
Bulger now 2nd all-time in the Rams franchise for passing yards. 3rd and 8. Backside, you could hear it hit his pads. And he drops it, Donnie Avery. And you look at there at Bulger's numbers, career passing yards, now 2nd all-time in Rams history. Passing Roman Gabriel and Jim Everett, the leader, with his number there. And this is 4th and 8.
I would expect pressure from Gunther Cunningham in this Detroit Lions defense. They've been getting the ball out of Bulger's hands. Expect the pressure here.
Timeout called by Bulger. They've got one left.
You know, and not a bad deal for these St. Louis Rams. It's almost like an old basketball play. You start the series, you put everyone out there, see what the defense is going to give you, and you call that timeout. They have the timeouts. They know that Detroit likes pressure. Maybe you get them to show their hand, get your protection in order, get the right play dialed up. You call the timeout, and instead, Steve Spagnuolo doesn't like the look at all and brings his kicker, Josh Braun, out.
And this will be a 54-yarder by Brown. Brown from this distance this year is 2 of 3. He's already hit a 41-yarder today. Fake. Wide open. Fells. Fells will have the first down, then some. Touchdown Rams. No flags down, it counts. 36 yards. And the Rams special teams coach, Tom McMahon, pulls one out of his hat. 36-yard touchdown. And the Lions had no idea. A Lion is injured on the field. Hard to tell who that is. Okay, that's Cliff Averill. Averill in a position to make the tackle after Fells made the first down, but what a call. John, did you see it coming?
I didn't see it coming. You figure that they don't like the look. See that snap to Donnie Jones, flips it out to Josh Brown. Beautiful execution. Daniel Fells, no one nearby. Cliff Averill hustling down to try to tackle him, injures himself. Ron, we were over at the walkthrough for the Detroit Lions the other day. They went over, Stan Kwan and this special teams unit went over every possible fake they've run in the last 5 years. Obviously, this was an unscouted look, and they weren't on their P's and Q's. And the Rams, those are the type of plays you need to make if you want to win your first game of the season. Steve Spagnuolo and Tom McMahon, the special teams coach, pulling out all the stops, and it pays off. And that's, you know, for a special teams coach, they take a lot of abuse for not having guys on the field for doing that. That's a big win for them, and puts them up possibly 10-2. And I like the call. I like the, you know, I really have been impressed with Steve Spagnuolo this entire year, and it's hard to say that when a team's 0-7. But I've said this in the previous games we've done. He has stayed. He's the same guy, Ron. We met week 1 out at Seattle. He has not wavered at all. And he, you know, he's told his team, we're improving systems. These are systems that have worked. He worked under Andy Reid at Philly. He worked under Tom Coughlin at New York, and he's been around a lot of success. He won a Super Bowl in New York. And so he sold to his players that these systems work so long as we execute them. At some point, as we said in the open, you need some wins to validate that and keep that team's faith in you up. And, you know, those are the type of plays you need to make to win those games.
He retracted an effort comment he made about the team at the end of last week's loss to Indianapolis. He said it was kind of a knee-jerk reaction, and then when I went back looked at the film, he said, these guys have always played hard. They played hard right to the finish, as Brown puts it through. 54 seconds left, 3 timeouts left for the Detroit Lions. They'll get the ball. Williams out to the 24-yard line. 48 seconds left. A look at the fake.
Typically, it's these guys that are pushing that have to drop out after, or Coach Sips in there that's coming. Someone has responsibility on Daniel Fells. What special teams do is they scout. They look at these week in, week out, and they see, all right, maybe they aren't in their coverage right here. 50-yard field goal, you aren't necessarily expecting that fake.
Yeah, Daniel Fells is still laughing about that one.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll smile about that for a long time. So now we'll see if Matthew Stafford, at 21 years old, youngest player on the Lions roster, can operate a 2-minute drill. That's good enough for 8 to Casey Fitzsimmons.
And they've got plenty of time. You're looking at 34 seconds. They need to speed their act up here. 32 seconds, now 30 seconds with 3 timeouts. So long as they continue to move the chains, they've got a chance to put points on the board.
And work the sideline. That's one way to make the clock stop, not the optimal way. Another drop there. 2 drops that I've counted thus far by Bryant Johnson.
Yeah, and this whole offense has been plagued by drops today. Matthew Stafford's delivering some good footballs. You got to catch the football. And they've struggled with that throughout this entire first half.
Calvin Johnson tried to go in pregame warm-up, couldn't do it. They sat him down. They put the onus on their backup wide receivers. A couple drops early. But the run game has been going by that man. Smith is going to get out of bounds. He can't make it. Nice tackle there by Craig Dahl, and that forces the first time out by the Lions with 18 seconds left.
Clear!
Plenty of time. Back shoulder, Brown couldn't hold on.
No, and that's not an absolute strike in terms of accuracy from Matt Stafford, but again, you got to catch the football. This is the National Football League. You're expected to catch that football. And I think at some point, Scott Linehan and this offense, earlier on, I was saying you've got to move the chains. Now you got to take some shots downfield. You've got to get yourself in field goal range to attempt to get some points on the board before this halftime.
Look at former Ram head coach Scott Linehan, now the offensive coordinator here in Detroit. 15 seconds and counting. Brown, he's got to run straight out of bounds. Just in front of the first down marker. 10 seconds left. 2 timeouts. Linehan, you see his record there as Rams head coach. A lot of dissension amongst a few players down there at the time he took over. Guys were vocal about some of the things Linehan did. Guys that were never vocal before. Guys like Torrey Holt expressed their unhappiness about the situation.
They were, but Jim Schwartz and these Detroit Lions are happy to have Linehan. It really felt like it was a good mesh in terms of philosophies.
Long 3rd and 2, and the drops continue to plague the Detroit Lions. That time, Northcutt. 4 drops we've counted total by the Lions offense.
And that's an absolute strike by Matthew Stafford. That's the type of throw that warranted him being the first pick in the draft. And right now, you got to help the man out. He's delivering the football. You got to catch it. That's certainly the case with Matthew Stafford. We now have had an opportunity on 2 occasions to sit down, and you see why people are so high on this guy. Obviously the ability on the field, but you love the presence and unflappable. You know, I'm sure he wants these receivers to catch the ball, but he's going to keep throwing it downfield.
Well, he's going to have to throw it downfield now. Four seconds left.
Jay, watch this throw.
Timeout, St. Louis. Their 3rd and final team timeout. A 30-second timeout.
So the Lions just lost a timeout due to an injury inside 1 minute of play. Cliff Averill was the Lion injured. The Rams take their final timeout with 4 seconds left.
I think that goes back to Cliff Averill on the fake field goal. There were 53 seconds left when the Lions got the ball.
Right.
But they just announced it,
That's a little bit of a delay there. So 4 seconds left here. The Lions lined up in the old Hail Mary Big Ben formation. Rams have 5 men deep. And that made it easy. That ball didn't even land in the field of play. Mark Bulger, 10 of 16 for 100 yards. He broke the Rams record, at least for 2nd place all time in passing yards, moving past Roman Gabriel. And you just mentioned Matthew Stafford, 9 of 20 for 93 yards, but that stat just doesn't account for the drops.
Yeah, that shows up in the paper as 9 of 20, but you know, I think it would be probably 16 of 20, 15 of 16 of 20. I counted 6 or 7 drops in that first half. And good throws, too. Not all of them perfect, but very catchable footballs.
The Rams pulling off a sweet fake field goal just before the half. Josh Brown with the throw to Daniel Fells for the touchdown on the fake. This is Amendola, 2 yards deep. Amendola takes a hit at the 20, flips out to the 24-yard line. Let's go down to the third member of our crew, Jennifer Hammond, standing by on the sidelines. Jennifer.
And Ron and John, you guys both touched on it. Jim Schwartz told me at halftime, we have got to make the plays. We've run the ball well, but when there's an opportunity to excel in the passing game, we have got to make the catches. The drops have hurt him, so did the fake field goal. As for Steve Spagnuolo, he said that he likes the way they're running the ball, but they've also struggled to find consistency on offense. He wants to continue to mix it up, guys.
Jennifer, thank you very much. They'll go 1st and 10. They will spot the ball officially at the 22-yard line. Play action to Jackson. Carney in the flat. Boy, and that's going to be a rough one for any defensive back. You've got Carney coming out there at 260 pounds going head-on with 186 pounds of Phillip Buchanan, and it ends up being 9 yards.
And that's something they really wanted to see from Phillip Buchanan. He got benched a couple weeks ago because they weren't happy with his tackling. You got to give credit to him there. He's got a big 260-pound fullback, and he took him down. Good job, Phillip.
Yeah, he did a nice job. What they say, John, those open field tackles aren't going to be pretty. Just get them on the ground.
That's right.
2nd and 1. Quick throw backside. Did he secure the catch? No. The side judge runs in and says he did not. That's Avery working on William James.
Maybe it's contagious. It was the Detroit Lions dropping all the footballs early. Now Donnie Avery coming out. Mark Bulger sees the box stacked, goes to the now route, the quick slant. Donnie Avery has it in his hands. A nice job by William James actually getting a hand in there and pulling that ball out.
That'll bring up a 3rd and short. These are the 3rd down instances that Steve Spagnuolo said we have struggled in throughout the year. Boy, that'll help you get healthy fast. Jackson appeared to be hit in the backfield, but kept his feet moving and gets the first easily with 6 yards on the gain.
Now, I mentioned in the keys to this second half, the Yellow Book keys to feed Steven Jackson. That's exactly why. Someone meets him in the backfield, you aren't going to get this guy down. He does not go down on the first tackler ever, and you got to keep feeding this guy. You've got to lead. Put the ball in his hands. He's your best player. Feed him all second half.
Jackson again. Boy, Jackson having to fight just to get out of the backfield. Nice job of swarming by the Lions defense. Levy Foot is there also with Grady Jackson. No gain on the play.
You know, and Billy Devaney and Steve Spagnuolo paid a lot of attention to addressing this offensive line. Look at Jason Smith right there. That's why they're so excited. He's got the feet, he's got the nastiness. But this interior of the offensive line, Richie Incognito's missing this week. Last week they played Indianapolis. Jim Caldwell, the Colts head coach, said this is the best interior line they had faced all year. Billy Devaney, they've done a nice job of rebuilding this offensive line with the likes of Jason Brown, Jacob Bell. Adam Goldberg's in there today, but Richie Incognito.
Offense number 46.
Daniel Fells went off sides, and he just kind of kept walking nonchalantly like, oh, well, they got me. 3rd false start by the Rams today. And you alluded to it earlier, John. When you have the kind of records these two teams have, mental errors are always a part of the equation.
Yeah, there's a reason why. You know, it's are they deficient in some talent? Absolutely. Both teams know that that's a work in progress, but you have to execute the simple things in this league.
Going deep, looking for Avery, and it's just overthrown. Co Simpson on the coverage. 3rd and long. Check down throw to Carney. Carney will have to do a lot of work to make up the yardage, and he can't. Kevin Hobbs is there along with others, and that's a 4th down.
And that's the way you want to start if you're these Detroit Lions. You get a quick 3 and out to start the second half. Excuse me, not a 3 and out, second series. But a nice job on 3rd and long. You put them in that 3rd and long situation. You drop back. It's a pressure team, but on 3rd and long, drop back, keep the ball in front of you. Everyone rally up. Nice job by Gunther Cunningham's Detroit Lions defense.
Donnie Jones, the punt. Jones first in the NFC in net yardage, meaning the return after the punt. Nearly blocked, and great coverage down the field and a tackle. Jonathan Wade hustles down with the play there on the punt. He replaced Ty Hill as a starter when Hill was traded to Atlanta during training camp. Then Wade was replaced by Bradley Fletcher. Fletcher is injured, so for all intents and purposes, Wade is kind of back in the mix of things. There's a great stop in the backfield. Smith didn't even have a chance to get out. Lawan Ramsey back to the punt.
You see Jonathan Wade, he's a sprinter from Tennessee, a member of the 4x100 team at Tennessee. And if you're William James, you know, they have a thing called bump and run, and then there's a thing called run and pray. You better get your hands on a guy that can run that fast. Herm Edwards used to tell us all the time, son, you better get your hands on that guy. Well, William, you got a guy that fast, put your hands on him.
Yeah, nice punt there by Donnie Jones, 51 yards. Leaves the open shot for Wade. The screen, the tight end screen, that's Heller, and Heller will be about 2 yards shy of the first down.
You see John Jansen again. We talked about him lining up. He's going to hold for the screen, then get out in front, put a little block on James Laurinaitis. They're really looking for someone to take hold of that left tackle. Jim Schwartz talked about the most important two positions to have continuity, the offensive line and the defensive backfield. The offensive line, they have had no continuity. They really want John Jansen to settle in for the rest of the year here at this left guard. Doing a nice job thus far today.
But still a little short, 3rd and 3. That ball may have been tipped coming out, couldn't tell. Northcutt saying, where's the interference? Meanwhile, Quincy Butler saying, no, I just D'd you up, and it's 4th down. Maybe not, I don't know.
And that one you can't call a drop. That one's on Matt Stafford. You gotta put the ball in Dennis Northcutt's hands and give him a chance. But those are the simple throws that really you need to execute in this league. They got themselves in a 3rd and short. You've got to turn those into catches and move the chains.
That's a 3 and out, and they'll turn it over. 4th and 3 punt by Harris. That's a good kick. Amendola at the 29, looking for his wall. He needs a couple of blocks, and Amendola gets peppered.
Things like that can really lift the morale, but a win can lift the morale even more. And that's what the Lions need to do here today.
Co Simpson with the tackle, a pickup of 4. And a look at Jim Schwartz there. He's saying, you know, it's not about the stats. He came in talking about when he was down in Tennessee, they never worried about the numbers. And I guess you have to think like that when you play against Peyton Manning twice a year. You worry at the end of the day, points on the board. And as long as they could keep those points low and have a chance to win in the end, and that's all it was about. That coming from the Jeff Fisher school of winning in the AFC. That's a sailor over the head of Darby. I think Bulger let that one fly on purpose. He saw that Darby had a man in front of him, wanted to make sure he got it over his head.
Nice job by Gunther Cunningham in this Detroit Lions defense. Again, Jim Schwartz told us, hey, we don't have Albert Hainsworth, we don't have Kyle Vanden Bosch yet here in Detroit. The guys he had down in Tennessee, we've got to manufacture pressure. And you can look for Detroit to manufacture some pressure via the blitz here today.
That was Gunther Cunningham on the right-hand side, the defensive coordinator for the Lions. Not as relaxed as he looked in that picture. 3rd and 6, Bulger. Very close. It looks as though he's just shy of the first down. But let's see how they mark it.
Yeah.
He is shy. That's a 4th down. And that's going to bring on the punt team for the Rams.
You know, Ron, I'm all for quarterbacks protecting themselves and sliding, but you're an 0-7 team. You're 1 yard away. You've got to go get that first down. Mark Bulger's not the most mobile guy. Louis Delmas is coming, but go get that first down. Keep the chains moving for your football team.
So they say no. They bring on Jones, and they'll punt it away. Jones angles to the side. Comes back in the middle of the field, gets that one high, and it's a fair catch. And here's a look at Brett Favre. He'll be coming up in the late game from 92 to 2007 with the Green Bay Packers. Those are his numbers. 61,000 yards plus passing. We just talked about Bulger becoming 2nd all-time in yards for the Rams. And to think he's not even halfway to Brett Favre speaks a lot of the accomplishments of the future Hall of Famer. Stafford in trouble. A missed sack initially by Ryan, but he's cleaned up.
Brett Favre, Ron, I played against. I think I might have been personally responsible for at least 1,000 of those yards. This guy was something special, and him going home today, like I said in the first half, I returned to Tampa after I had played there for 11 years. The emotions he'll experience today will be like no other he's ever faced in football, and you know, it should be a great showdown there between two NFC North very good football teams.
Sack credited to Chris Long on that play. First sack by either team today. Going back to the run, that's Kevin Smith. Laurinaitis on the tackle. Laurinaitis told us he had his welcome play, that NFL welcome play last week against Peyton Manning.
He did. You know, early in the year, he talked about his idol, Brett Favre, playing against him. He intercepted Brett Favre. Not so much luck against Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, he said he had a guy perfectly covered, Charlie Johnson, their tight end, and boom, the ball was there in Charlie Johnson's hands. He said, I've never covered a guy so well and had a completion on me. Well, I've been there, James. Peyton Manning has done that to a lot of people.
3rd and 12. Lions receivers have had trouble catching the ball. That's a quick throw. Intended for Smith. It'll bring up 4th down. Another 3 and out, back-to-back 3 and outs as the Boo Birds come out here in Detroit.
And Leonard Little there, Ron. There's a guy who has played absolutely outstanding football for these St. Louis Rams this year. You see him on the pressure on Stafford. He has played the run well. He's played the pass well. This guy has been outstanding, and you don't think he's fighting for wins. Just watch this guy play. We did a game against Jacksonville where he had that interception. This guy is all over the field for him.
So Harris will punt it away, and a good chance now for Amendola for a decent return. Good kick. Amendola makes a cut, then runs right into a tackle face first. Goes down at the 48-yard line. Dismal possessions today for the Detroit Lions. But not in that graphic, the amount of drops that we've been talking about all game long. Started in the first quarter, and they continue to pile up. Jackson, there, Steven Jackson. He'll have about 8 or 9 on the opening carry. John, I thought that was an interesting story that Jackson told us last night about the frustration being involved in an 0-7 season. He said he makes phone calls home to Dad.
Yeah, you know, and his dad, his dad talked about his dad being so proud of the integrity that he's demonstrating this year in the face of adversity. You know, he's not asking for trades. He's not asking for the ball more. He's doing his job and trying to do whatever he can to put this team on his shoulders and change this losing culture.
Oh, there's a nice hit. Buchanan. Buchanan has been involved in the run game and tackling today.
I think he got the memo.
I think he got the memo.
You want him to tackle Jim Schwartz. Sometimes the most powerful thing is you put him on the bench for a little bit. And Philip Buchanan, a good player in this league for a long time, can cover anybody in this league. They were upset with his tackle, and he's come out, done a nice job rectifying that problem early on today.
No gain on the play, 3rd and 1. Jackson for 1. He'll get more than 1. He puts the stiff arm right there on Delmas. Delmas is able to haul him down, but it's an easy first down as the Rams move the chains.
Larry Foote talked about Steven Jackson. He called this guy a monster. He said he's fast. You look at him, he's so big. He's as big as his offensive lineman, but yet he has those feet. He does so many things well. Jim Schwartz talked about he's so good at so many things. He's strong, big. He can run inside. He can run outside. He can hit the long run. And he can play wide receiver if he wanted to in this league. That's what makes him, in my mind, one of the best 2 backs in this National Football League.
In the top of the NFL, in first downs, there's a hit and a loose ball. Incomplete pass. Louis Delmas came down and really blasted Daniel Fells.
Ron, Louis Delmas, we talked about it, the rookie from Western Michigan. This is a guy that wants to be special. He's got the hips of a corner, but yet he's got the striking ability of a big-time safety in this league. I spent some time with him this week. He was picking my brain for everything I knew about football. That told me this guy wants to be special at his craft. It's important to him, and that's the kind of football player that this Detroit Lions defense can build around.
High formation run back to Steven Jackson. A pickup of 3. You were talking about Delmas. He had a big play week 1 down in New Orleans. They got beat up in the game, but he had a 65-yard fumble return for a touchdown. Those are the kind of plays that the Lions need desperately.
Yeah, absolutely. And he had 2 personal fouls that were really examined by a lot of people in that game. One of them was when one of the receivers held the ball up. And, you know, that's of course it's inexcusable, but it showed me it matters to this guy. And I think you mix that kind of ability with the love for the game of football. You've got a special player on your hands, and I think he will become that in the National Football League.
3rd and 7. Nice throw. That's Billy Badgema for the Rams' first down. And, John, that was an example of something Bulger talked to us about last night. He throws the spots on the field, and he made that throw before Badgema had even come out of his break clean.
Yeah, and that comes from being tutored under Mike Martz when he came into the league. That's what Mike Martz's offense was all about. The vertical routes, the West Coast under Pat Shurmur, shorter routes. At times you take it upfield, but those are the type of things Mark Bulger has done well throughout his career. Throw the ball, as you said, to a spot before receivers are out of the breaks, and that's why he's thrown for 22,000 yards plus.
And he'll throw again, going touchdown, looking for McMichael, and it's incomplete. DeAndre Levy on the coverage. And going back to Bulger on that point about throwing the spots, he talked about wide receiver indicators, meaning body language by the receiver, and in this case, a tight end, on when he is on his final approach, when he is done running his route and he's ready for the ball.
The indicator he wanted right there was for Randy McMichael to catch the football. He put a nice ball on him, and again, the drops plaguing both teams here today.
Quick screen, that ball is tipped. And it's incomplete, intended for Amendola. They were going to set up a wide receiver screen. Amendola was going to set up behind Keenan Burton, but it was tipped coming out.
You see Julian Peterson lining up with his hand down. One of the things, they've got a lot of players from a lot of different backgrounds on this Detroit Lions defense. Julian Peterson's a guy who early in the year did not look good. They've learned how to utilize him. They put their hand down and tell him, go get the quarterback. That's what he's been successful at. You see Julian Peterson line up there. He's a force to be reckoned with when he's going after the quarterback.
That one tipped, intercepted. Dwayne White, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, comes up with his first interception of the year.
Boy, you can't underestimate how big this is for the Detroit Lions. St. Louis driving, Dwayne White chips on Steven Jackson, leaving the backfield. Great concentration. That's difficult to do for a defensive lineman. He tips it up, catches the ball. Big swing and momentum here. Nice play by Dwayne White.
White missed 3 games with a hamstring. The hamstring still bothering, but he was able to get up and make that play. Smith trying to ad-lib. Clifton Ryan brings him down to pick up a 4.
And Ron, he's only averaging 2.7 yards per carry today, but this guy is running hungry. He told us he would, and he certainly delivered. He talked about these last 10 games, his audition that he's a #1 running back in this league. That's the way he's looking at it. I think the Lions are looking at it as well. He's off to a good start here today.
16 carries for 45 yards rushing. 2nd down 6. Stafford moving, throws, knocked away, intended for Johnson. Hasn't had much luck with Johnson today. James Butler on the coverage. He actually knocked it away.
Now you go to 3rd down, where the Lions have actually been fairly proficient today. 5 for 12 on 3rd down. That's winning football. They need to continue to move the chains, and then they need to punch the ball in the end zone. Neither offense has scored today. Remember, the Rams' only touchdown was on a fake field goal.
3rd and 6. Fitzsimmons has it. 1st down, Lions. No flags. So 1st and 10 after the catch by Fitzsimmons. Morris gets in, jumps through the lane, and just gets tripped up at the last minute. Paris Lennon, the former Detroit Lion, he was here the last 3 years, may have saved the touchdown and at very least a long run, a pickup of 7.
Yeah, that had the makings of going out the door. Maurice Morris, see Will Heller with a nice block. Stephen Peterman pulling. Maurice Morris is seeing nothing but touchdown. And Paris Lennon saying, Brett Favre's not the only guy returning home this week. I'm going to make my plays. And nice touchdown saving tackle by Paris Lennon.
Lennon replacing, for all intents and purposes, Will Witherspoon, who was traded to the Eagles last week, a couple of weeks ago.
Ron Terrell Smith right here, the fullback subbing in for Jerome Felton today, doing an outstanding job leading these Detroit running backs. He's a physical fullback who's been doing it for a long time in this league. His 10th year, doing a nice job filling in for Jerome Felton.
He'll get a chance here, blocking from Morris. Morris decides to go the other way. He got 4. Laurinaitis on the tackle. John, aren't too many offensive coordinators that will be unhappy with 4 yards of crack running the football.
No, that's usually winning football. I think it's the drops that have plagued Scott Linehan in this offense today. You know, they're moving the football effectively. Now up over 200 yards. But you've got to turn those into touchdowns and points.
Catch. First down, Lions. Time winding down here in the first. Brandon Pettigrew. Pettigrew struggled early, took a couple big hits. Secures that one, good enough for 13 yards and a first down. Tough. Excuse me, John, go ahead.
Excuse me, Ron. We ask and we shall receive. Brandon Pettigrew saying, I'll catch the ball, give it to me. Matt Stafford, as we approach the end of the quarter, Lions trying to get one more snap.
We start the fourth quarter. Ron Pitts, John Lynch, Jennifer Hammond down on the field. 10-2. I know it looks like a baseball score. Rams. Ron finally putting together a drive. Going for the end zone. Johnson has it, and the penalty marker. So after a couple of drops today by Bryant Johnson, finally comes up with a big play. But let's check the marker first. I think it's going to be pass interference on Rams.
Defense number 24. Penalties declined. Play results in a first down.
See Bryant Johnson beating Ron Bartel off the brakes. Looks like a replay of the first quarter when he had Ron Bartel beat. This time he finishes the play with a nice catch. Good job of Bryant Johnson coming back from what had been a tough day with a bunch of drops.
So first and goal. Morris picking his way. Clifton Ryan says not now. Maybe 1 or 2. This drive, 77 yards. The previous 4 drives, 32 yards.
And the key is catching the football. You look right there, Bryant Johnson with the big catch earlier in the drive. Brandon Pettigrew on the 3rd down conversion. You got to catch the football to keep the chains moving, and you'll pile up those yards. It's key for the Detroit Lions right now. It appears as if Kevin Smith has been injured. Maurice Morris in for Kevin Smith.
They spread him out on offense. 4 wide receiver look. Stafford moving. He'll take it himself and get it. Touchdown Lions. Matthew Stafford's 2nd rushing touchdown of the season.
You watch Matthew Stafford active with those feet. There's no receiver open. You got to take it in yourself. He told us he was mobile enough to play. If he was playing, he was going to be able to run. Right there, he showed us he is healthy. And now Matthew Stafford and these Detroit Lions line up to go for 2 to try to tie this game at 10.
They are 0 for 1 in 2-point conversions this year. Fake handoff. Throw. They got it. No flags. Mo Morris with the 2-point conversion. So after 7 terrible drives, the Lions finally put one together with the help of the Dwayne White interception. It leads to a 10-play, 82-yard drive, capped off by the Matthew Stafford 4-yard touchdown run, and then another cap, the Mo Morris point conversion that is successful.
Absolutely. Nice job capitalizing on the turnover. The great play by Dwayne White. And if you're the St. Louis Rams, here they are. They're 0-7. They say, and here we go again. Instead, their players need to say, Steven Jackson needs to say, get on my shoulders. We're going to finish this game, get our first win.
Amendola. Ooh! Amendola blasted. We just thought we would lay out and let you experience that, and that's the type of energy they have missed around here in Detroit for a long time.
You got to love that by the starting quarterback, getting fired up. The momentum swift. If you're the St. Louis Rams, you've got to answer right now.
And they try to answer with Jackson, the workhorse. You experienced the big hit by Zach Follett, the 7th-round pick out of Cal, signed off the Lions practice squad in October. Talking about bringing this place to their feet, he did it.
Absolutely, and you know, I think he had the flu bug early in the week, missed some practice. A way to come off the flu. But again, if you're the St. Louis Rams, you got to answer this momentum. And I think they're doing the right thing on that first play. Get the ball in your best player's hand, Steven Jackson.
Quick change at center, Mark Setterstrom. And that's to Carney. So a first down on the play by Carney. The toss to Jackson. Jackson lowers his head. Delmas coming up and standing over him. Delmas coming down from the free safety spot, a loss of 1.
Watch Louis Delmas. This guy is a live wire. He's a dynamic football player. He asked me the other day about tackling. I told him, bring your arms when you tackle him. Young man, you're doing it well right there. This guy, Ron, I'm telling you, he's got a bright future in this league. I told you earlier, Steven Jackson doesn't go down by the first hit or much. Well, when you tackle like that, he's got no choice.
2nd down and 11. There's a throw to Jackson. Jackson lunges forward for what looks like a first down. It'll depend on the spot, but I see the chains moving, and it is a first down for the Rams. And John, tell me exactly what you're talking about there, bringing the hips. We've done this a lot of times. Go ahead and give me a demo.
Yeah, well, when, you know, for you young players at home, this will keep you healthy and it will allow you to become a good tackler. You bring those arms and you bring them tight. You start going like that, the head goes down, injuries happen, and bad tackling happens. You bring those arms tight, you strike people, you run through them, and you get great backs like Steven Jackson down.
And coming from the ground up.
Absolutely.
With the hips as well. Jackson, look at Jackson move the pile. And he's across midfield. So the Rams now starting to impose their will, and that will is number 39. He picks up 7. Jackson comes in spite of the team's record with healthy numbers, 2nd in the NFL in total yards from scrimmage, only behind Adrian Peterson, 3rd in the NFL in rushing behind Cedric Benson, who's had a surprise year, along with Adrian Peterson. And 3rd in the NFL in first downs, total first down. 2nd and 3, he'll get the dump off. And they stop the source, does William James. James got down there by the shoes, no gains on the play. Let's go down to Jennifer Hammond.
Yeah, Ron, they're not expected to get Jacob Bell back in at left guard. He has a pinched nerve in his neck. That's why you see Mark Setterstrom in there. So a little bit of a change there on the Rams offensive line.
All right, Jennifer, thank you. But it doesn't look like it's slowing the Rams down at all, especially Jackson. 3rd and 3.
Look for pressure from this Detroit defense.
Ball out fast, knocked away, Averill. Averill shaken up earlier in the game. Comes up with a big play, and that'll bring up 4th down. A Lion is injured on the 35-yard line. That's DeMarcus Fagans, 8th-year man out of Kansas. He's shaken up. The staff is attending to him. We'll be back. So Fagans walking off under his own pressure, just signed October 13th. walking off under his own power. They're going to check him out. Jones with a kick, almost had it inside the 5-yard line. A look at the offensive leaders, and for Stafford, that number picking up a direct correlation, I believe, with the amount of drops in the second half, which is 0, compared to about 6 the first half. Back to the run game. That's Mo Morris, and he's got 3. Let's go down to Jennifer Hammond.
All right, you see Morris back in there, but Kevin Smith waiting patiently on the sideline for his turn to return. They took him downstairs. They taped him up tighter than it was backstage at a Miss America pageant, and he is ready to go back in.
Very good, Jennifer. So, Morris getting a lot of run there for Kevin Smith, and an injured Ram. That's Paris Lennon. Lennon spent the last 3 years here as a member of the Detroit Lions. We'll check on him when we come back. So Paris Lennon, he's off on the cart there on the trainer's table. They're looking at his neck. Chris Chamberlain checks in his place. Morris with a hole. A flag goes down, back upfield in the backfield at the 22-yard line. This could come back. Bartell on the tackle.
I think it's going to be offsides on the St. Louis Rams.
Offside.
You're
Defense
right.
number 95. Penalties decline. The play results in a first down.
So 13 yards stays. A good run, another good run by Morris.
The offsides was on Clifton Ryan. He's from Saginaw, Michigan, went to Michigan State, has over 40 tickets for friends and family here today. Maybe trying to impress them a little too much, got off early. And Maurice Morris doing a nice job subbing in for Kevin Smith, getting valuable yards when they need them.
10 rushes for 51 yards. Add on to it. Puts a stiff arm. Has at least 10 more. James Butler saved the touchdown.
A wonderful job by Dominic Raiola, John Jansen, Terrell Smith, the fullback, with the lead block on Laurinaitis. And Maurice Morris running to that second level and almost escaping James Butler's tackle to get to the end zone, almost out the door. James Butler with a nice job getting them down, living to see another day for the St. Louis Rams defense.
Spent the last 7 years with Seattle, most of it backing up, of course, Sean Alexander. 22 career starts. He's getting his time to shine here, but not on that play. Leonard Little, a guy who has shined a lot this year in a dismal season thus far for the Rams, makes a stop in the backfield and a loss of 5.
There's no doubt in Leonard Little's effort this year. He's a 12th-year player. He's had enough of the losing, and on the field, he's doing nothing but great efforts to try to rectify that problem, get a win on the board for these St. Louis Rams.
A huge play down in Jacksonville earlier in the year, 36-yard interception for a return touchdown. What should have sealed the game. The Jaguars came back and won late, but it wasn't because of Leonard Little's efforts. Second and long. Another catch by Johnson. Johnson struggling early, holding on to it now. Center of the field, incomplete. Intended for Johnson. Just over the head of the tight end. Fitzsimmons well covered all the way around by the Rams secondary, and it brings up 4th down.
You know, Ron, and I keep talking about going back to Tampa for myself. You know, that was the most nerve-wracking thing. You don't think you care whether they boo or cheer, but, you know, fortunately for me, they cheered and didn't hear those boos. For Brett, we'll see. I think it might, Donald Driver said it might be the first time he's been booed in his entire career. Not many people boo Brett Favre.
A change in punt returner after the hit. Amendola out. Quincy Butler is back deep to receive the punt, and what a punt it is, out of bounds at the 4-yard line, and a late flag. You can see the official, no doubt there. So Nick Harris puts it out of bounds inside the 5-yard line, but the side judge, he threw the marker.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 27 in the receiving team. Penalized half the distance to the goal. First down, St. Louis.
And the Rams backed up here now. The penalty takes the ball back even further to the goal line, half the distance. So they'll be looking at a long drive. And the Rams also looking to pick up their first win of the season, riding a 17 straight game losing streak. They'll run it out. Jackson in trouble early. Keeps his feet moving. He's still going. And that's why Steven Jackson is having a Pro Bowl year. He makes 2 people miss and ends up with a 10-yard gain, maybe more.
And again, you don't think this guy wants to win. It's Grady Jackson, has him in the backfield. Breaking tackle after tackle. Steven Jackson, as we've seen throughout the year, saying, you know, give me the football, let me win this game. Outstanding effort by outstanding back, a special player and a special person, Steven Jackson.
11 yards on the pickup. Nice block there by Badgema. Throw. Backdoor, the quick turnaround intended for Brandon Gibson, who was acquired in the Will Witherspoon trade from Philadelphia. He can't hold on.
And Brandon Gibson's a guy that Mark Bulger talked about. What he brings to the table: size, quickness, great hands. Not such great hands there. But then finally, he's still learning them. He's been around him only for 2 weeks. Has to get that continuity with him.
2nd and 10. Back to the run. Jackson picking his holes, just a little sidestep. He told us last night, he said, I don't consider myself a big bruising back. Well, I don't think a lot of guys around the league know that.
Well, you know, the thing that, I don't know what he considers himself. He knows he's got the sweet feet.
Yeah.
But the thing about him, he can do it all. He can use those feet like he is right here. He can also run right through you. That's what makes him special. When you know guys quick, you can take away that quickness. When you know guys strong, you can take away that strength. But when he's got it all, you just sit there and pray, Lord. You say, please, Jesus, let me bring this guy down.
And that's my point. You look at him and you think, okay, I gotta bow up here and get ready, because he's going to bring a load at over 236 yards. But he can make you miss with his feet as he goes to the 100-yard mark on 18 carries. Wide open, Badgema, has the first down, and he's down to the 50-yard line.
I believe for Badgema, his first 2 catches of the season coming in critical points for these St. Louis Rams. You see the effect of Steven Jackson. He holds those linebackers. Mark Bulger delivers a strike to Badgema. A lot of people dropping balls today, not Billy Badgema.
No.
Nice catch by Billy.
5th-year man out of Oklahoma State, brought in as a free agent from the San Francisco 49ers this year. 27 yards on the reception. Ball at midfield. Back to Jackson. That offensive line doing a good job of creating a new line of scrimmage. At least that's what it looks like from this vantage point.
Absolutely. They're moving people. And, you know, we talked about it. Their biggest offseason acquisition was Jason Brown. Billy Devaney said he felt like the most important thing for this organization was solidifying that offensive line. Jason Brown has had an outstanding impact. As we said earlier, Jim Caldwell, playing the St. Louis Rams last week, felt that Jason Brown, Jacob Bell, and Richie Incognito made up the best interior line in the league. Alex Barron at left tackle. Jason Smith, the 2nd pick in the draft, doing an outstanding job blocking for Steven Jackson.
Play action, pick up a 5, multi-level crossers, and the pressure there prevented Bulger from getting a clean look. Dwayne White really started this whole thing with the tip ball interception that led to the long drive and the 2-point conversion.
Dwayne White right here. Everyone's keying on Steven Jackson, but read your keys, get up the field, stop the rollout. Dwayne White, a well-schooled player, played with us down in Tampa, learned under the best in Rod Marinelli, the former head coach and defensive line coach down in Tampa, head coach for these Detroit Lions, and it makes for a big 3rd down situation here.
4 minutes and 14 seconds left, 3rd and 5. The out, dropped. Burton, it hit him in the chest. James on the coverage, and that brings up 4th down, and the Rams will punt it away.
And Ron, you could read the script. Gunther Cunningham in pressure situations is going to bring pressure. That's what they've been going to. When you have pressure, you better win the one-on-ones outside. William James with a nice job of coverage. Keenan Burton tries to body catch. William James gets his hand in there. Nice play by William James.
Jones will punt it away. He's killed 5 inside the 10. That's 2nd best in the NFL. And there's another one. They down it. That ball at the 5-yard line.
What you've got to like for Detroit in this second half is your franchise, your starting quarterback, Matthew Stafford, has started to take over and impose his will on this game. They need to continue to see that from Stafford.
So a heavy dose now with Kevin Smith being nicked up a little bit. Mo Morris getting the call once again. Chris Long on the tackle.
Kevin Smith out in a critical time for these Detroit Lions, was running hungry today, running very well. Maurice Morris has come in and done a nice job in his absence, rushing for 59 yards already thus far today.
So now we'll get a look at Stafford. Stafford will go into 2-minute mode here as we approach the 2-minute mark. 2nd and 5, bottled up nicely by the Ram defense. Give the credit up front to the guys in the defensive tackle spot. Maybe one.
Very nice job by this St. Louis Rams defense. James Laurinaitis, the leading tackler, he's been outstanding as a rookie. Steve Spagnuolo talked about it. We have to be able to stop the run in critical positions. Nice job of doing that by the St. Louis Rams defense, putting the Detroit Lions in a 3rd and long situation.
3rd down and 6. Fake draw. Stafford goes for it, not even close. Leonard Little is there, along with Hall, and it'll be 4th down. The Lions fans go from cheers to boos just that fast, 3 and out.
And watch Leonard Little. Look at this, Gosder chairless. Good luck, Gosder. If the guy puts a spin move on you like that, Leonard Little, we've talked about it over and over, but that's outstanding effort, outstanding pass rush move by Leonard Little. And that's why he has 86 career sacks.
And the Rams started things off hot. They went down the field, had to settle for an early field goal. A miscue by James Butler. He intercepted a ball, then ran back into the end zone. That led to a safety. Then it seemed as though the Lions were just falling flat. 7 straight drives, absolutely nothing. Then a big play on special teams by Follett, then a interception by Dwayne White that led to a drive and a touchdown in the 2-point conversion. Odd way that Nick Harris stands there almost to the side like he's going to take off running with it.
You have any doubt which direction he's punting in?
Harris gets it away. It'll be in the numbers. This is Butler. Quincy Butler still going backwards, that is, to the 35-yard line. 52 yards on the punt, a loss of 2. And we haven't seen Amendola since that vicious hit by Follett on the kickoff return. Quick game summary. Josh Brown with the trickeration the day after Halloween on the fake field goal, the touchdown pass. And Jackson over the century mark, continuing his great run this season.
But Ron, we talked about it. The St. Louis Rams offense has started to move the football effectively. They're sitting at 350 total yards today, but still don't have an offensive touchdown. Again, their touchdown came off a fake field goal. They're moving the ball effectively. At some point, you've got to put the football in the end zone as an offense.
Josh Brown has a long of 53 this year. That one knocked away. Averill.
Cliff Averill in this Detroit defense, at times not even trying to rush the passer against this West Coast short passing offense, just telling their guys, get your hands up and block that football.
The Rams with 2 timeouts. They burned one right before the punt. Throw, good catch by Burton. That was a tough ball to catch, but he brings it in. He'll be about 2 yards shy of the 1st down.
Very nice catch by Keenan Burton. You want to win your first football game, make catches like that.
3rd and 3. Incomplete, and a marker is down. Intended for McMichael. And Schwartz questioning whether or not that ball was catchable.
Pass interference. Defense number 26. penalized at the spot of the foul, and a first down.
Boy, that's a big play because for all intents and purposes, the Lions defense was off the field.
It moves the chains. The Lions had gotten off the field. You're going to watch Delmas right here on McMichael, and he does a great job of covering him for a long time. At the end of this play, they feel there's contact there. The back judge keeps the chains moving for these St. Louis Rams.
And it keeps this man moving. Steven Jackson runs over the umpire and gets inside the 25-yard line. I think that's the only thing that's been able to slow Steven Jackson down today.
Timeout, Detroit.
A
Their
timeout
first,
taken by the Lions.
30-second timeout. Please reset the game clock to 1:44.
The umpire, Bill Schuster, got to feel what a lot of people in this National Football League have felt for a long time, getting trucked by Steven Jackson. But a gaping hole. You look at Jason Brown in that interior of that offensive line, and Bill Schuster, hang on, because Steven Jackson's coming through. And actually, it's really not something to laugh at. Mike Pereira actually addressed that this week. He's very concerned that referees are getting run over too much in this league. They've talked about a number of ideas, putting helmets on them, you know, moving them on the field. Ultimately, I think these referees are tough guys and don't mind a little contact every now and then.
Well, no, the league concerned about their safety. Mike Pereira, the head of the NFL officials, always monitoring the NFL official safety and issues of safety and ways to improve it. And like you say, John, there's a good example of, shows you just how hard those guys are playing and running inside.
They do a great job when they put their safety on the line each and every week.
1st and 10 call to Jackson. Jackson going to the house. No flags, touchdown Rams. And the first rushing touchdown for the Rams this season. Snaps the longest streak of his career. First rushing touchdown for him in 8 games.
And again, this drive started with them on their 2-yard line. We said they had to answer the momentum shift. And we said, if you want to answer momentum, give it to your best player, and that's Steven Jackson. And he runs through tackles. Steven Jackson playing with a great deal of heart, wanting that first win terribly.
Extra point is good. You see he's getting a hug from his running backs coach, Sylvester Croom, former Mississippi State head coach. And here's another look at the replay.
And if you're Louis Delmas, you're a great tackler, but you got to close that distance. He hesitates, and he who hesitates in the NFL loses. You cannot hesitate on a guy like Steven Jackson. Jim Schwartz said it's going to take all 11 to contain him right there. They were trying to, you know, one of your players is late, and that's all it takes for a guy as explosive as Steven Jackson to expose you.
147 yards on 21 carries for Jackson. He talked in the beginning of the season about staying healthy. He missed 10 games in the last 2 years, always seemed to get nicked up. But when he's on the field, this team has a different type of attitude and a life.
Yeah, you know, and I can't agree more with his father, Steve Jackson, who lives in Las Vegas, who told him how proud he was of his son. You know, you can't help but be proud of this guy because he's representing the league in the right way. His organization's struggling. He's going about his business each and every day.
That's right.
And playing with a great heart, and that's what this league's all about. Great players playing with great heart.
So the Rams up by 7, 1:38 to go, 2 timeouts, and they'll bring it out of the end zone. That's Williams. Williams almost turned the corner. Asadu on the tackle.
Today, 147 yards. They're trying to protect their first win. Last win, 160 yards. Steven Jackson, your best player. Get the ball in his hands.
So 1:32, 2 timeouts for Stafford. Ball's loose, incomplete pass. We've seen that throughout the first half by the Lions.
And I think the story of this game today, if you're the Detroit Lions, you aren't helping your rookie quarterback out. Your best receiver, your best player for that matter, Calvin Johnson's out. Other people need to emerge, and they have failed to do so as a receiving corps for these Detroit Lions, and need to in a hurry with only 1:27 left in this football game.
Complete, but a marker is down in the backfield, usually holding. Ron Winter working it out with his crew. 2 flags actually went down on the play.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding, offense number 68. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 43. By rule, those penalties offset. Repeat, second down.
We'll repeat the down. The Rams, as you look at John Jensen there, he's popped for one, Craig Dahl for the other. The Rams going into the bye weekend. What do they say, John, in this league? You never want to go into your bye week with a loss.
Oh, you want to go into that bye with a good feeling, and it sure will be for these Steve Spagnuolo and these Rams if they can finish this game. A minute 20 left, up by 7 points.
Trying to erase 17 losses in a row. Pressure on Stafford. Uncorks it down the sideline. It's late, and a marker's down. Butler on the coverage going up against John Standiford. First time we've called his name today.
I think they got John Jansen again on a hold. 2 plays in a row.
Holding, offense number 68. Penalized half the distance to the goal. Repeat, second down.
2nd and 20. Penalties derailing the Lions on this drive. The long corner route, and Stafford overthrows it. He had Northcutt. Northcutt broke free. Stafford couldn't put it on him.
Now, if you're the Detroit Lions, you've got a 3rd and 20, Ron, but this is 4-down territory. Not 4-down territory, 4-down time. You're desperate. You've got a minute and 8. So rather than try to get all 20 here, you try to get maybe half of those 20 yards and give yourself a chance on 4th down.
Third and 20. Rams playing a 2-deep shell. That's zone. High one. Boy, if Bartell was looking, he might have picked it off. Intended for Johnson. And that brings up 4th and 20.
4th down and 20s are tough situations.
You don't have a call for that, is what you're saying?
Well, there are some. You remember back to the playoffs years ago, Donovan McNabb against Green Bay Packers.
Oh yeah, Freddie Mitchell.
And those get coaches fired. I remember coach for me in Denver came from Green Bay because he was the defensive coordinator for those Green Bay Packers.
The last chance for the Lions, 4th and 20. And it's incomplete and a turnover on down. So barring a miracle, the Rams will get their first win of the 2009 season as the seats begin to empty here in Detroit. The give to Jackson. And it's well chronicled, but Jackson will end this day just over the 150-yard mark. Jackson officially at 149, excuse me, I gave him an extra yard, 166 total yards. And the Rams will erase the 17 straight games with a loss and get a win here in Detroit. And a bye week coming up after the bye. John, you mentioned this earlier. They've got some Hummers. They've got New Orleans at home. They've got Arizona, the much improved Arizona Cardinals. And then Seattle.
And who knows whether those are realistic, but this at least allows you to go into that bye week feeling good about yourselves. I told in the open about our story as an organization back in 1996, turning our fortunes. We were 1-8, won 5 of our last 7, went on to win 10 of 12, and became a perennial playoff team that eventually won a Super Bowl. So you never know when that game that's going to turn the tide of that franchise. As Spags gets the little Gatorade dousing.
So the final, the Rams 17, the Lions 10, and the first win in the head coaching career. He got a little Gatorade dump there of Steve Spagnuolo.